Welcome back to Online Darts, everyone. We're here. The World Championship is finally here, Matt, and for the first time in 2 years, we're here with no black clouds around.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether you mean weather or medical issues or whatever, but no, it's a beautiful day out there, a little bit cold, but the sun's shining and it looks fantastic in there. Can't wait to get started. Yeah,
look, the last 2 years have been hell for you guys to organise it with everything that's gone on in the world. Was this relatively stress-free compared to the last couple?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, this was a return to normality in the full sense of the word. Obviously, we had full crowds last year, but there were still certain restrictions. We haven't had any of that this year, so that's been really good. And it's been a chance for us with some new branding and a few new ideas to move the event on a level as well.
The whole of 2022 culminates in this one event. How would you sum up the season as we went back to normality?
Well, it's been really gratifying for us for it to have been normal and for us to have seen the reaction from the crowds all around the world. You know, we've been down under for the first time in a long time, back to America as well, all across Europe. So, you know, I think that's been a real positive for us. From a darts perspective, I think the standard, particularly in the last few months, has been phenomenal. You know, I think obviously Michael van Gerwen's won a lot of tournaments, but regardless of that, there's been some other winners as well, some unexpected. Great to see Michael Smith win his first tournament. Ross Smith surprised everybody, you know, so I think there's been some great stories both on and off the hockey.
Yeah, and look, we come here with arguably the most wide open World Championship we've ever seen.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, try and pick a winner, it's very difficult, isn't it? There'll be, you know, look, let's be honest, 96 players in a tournament. Not all of them are going to expect to win the tournament, but a good dozen or so will think, do you know what, that could be me.
When you look at the data in the build-up to this, record ticket sales in record time, the appetite for darts has never been so big.
No, that's right, and it's nice to know that in a time when it's difficult for people. They have to make tough decisions on what to do with their money, but I think we continue to provide value, we continue to provide a great experience, we continue to provide world-class entertainment, and whilst we continue to do that, I think people will support us.
Yeah, the celebration of the Worlds as well, the first time we're going to see 3 women in the World Championship. That decision caused a little bit of controversy on social media. First of all, we'll do the good bit first of all, and obviously celebrating the fact we are going to see 3 women at the Palace for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big step forward. Look, I think, was it the right decision? Yes. Was it handled in the right way? No, maybe, look, we could have done things a little bit differently. We learn lessons. We're not perfect. We're probably better than some people think we are. In fact, we definitely are better than some people think we are, but we're not perfect. But regardless of that, you know, we've made the right decision, so kind of the route by which we got there is less important.
Yeah, like we say, it was the timing of the announcement the one that caught people out, because obviously we spoke to you back in Leicester and you said, look, we kind of know what's going on with it. It was a long wait between then and the announcement.
Yeah, there were still certain things that had to fall into place. We make announcements all the time, you know, and sometimes things just get announced. You know, there's no conspiracy theories or anything like that. Well, there are conspiracy theories, but they're not accurate. You know, it's just things get announced as and when it becomes suitable for them to be announced, and also then the knock-on effect of when other things around them or different things that we wouldn't just, if we were going to make 7 announcements in a week, we're not going to do them all on the same day.
Of course.
So it's just a coincidence how that's happened.
Yeah, and like we say, the right decision, I believe, has been made. It's great to see Bo, Fallon and Lisa all competing here on the Women's Series. Is it close to offering perhaps the winner a tour card of the Women's Series like the Development Tour and Challenge Tour?
No, I would say not, for the reason that the women players can play in the Challenge Tour and the Development Tour, and the male players can't play in the Women's Series. So the Women's Series is there to give female players more competitive opportunities on a more regular basis, where they can become more accustomed to a PDC environment and then hopefully progress on into the Challenge Tour, still be in the Development Tour and then the Pro Tour. So that would, you know, that would be I think that would be a move we're not looking to make at the moment.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's just the one that came up on social media. Obviously, as well, with the Worlds, it goes hand in hand with the Premier League. Obviously, we know it's going to be 8 again. The big question that everyone's asking is, are you going to wait to the Masters again and potentially dangle a carrot, or will that decision be made earlier this year?
Maybe. We haven't decided yet. We'll wait and see how things look after the World Championship. You know, I think it works quite well having the winner of the Masters in there. It is a little bit of a quick turnaround logistically, but it does work quite well. But it may be that it's not the right decision for us this year. We'll wait and see how the World Championship pans out.
With the Premier League and the picks this year, the pool that you have to pick from is probably the biggest it's been in a few years, especially with only 8 spaces. There's obviously the top 4 pick themselves, but there's probably a pool of 12 after that that are in the mix.
Yeah, agree. And I think it's important that we pick players at the right time. We have to. It's grueling, the Premier League. It's very tough mentally. It's tough physically. It's tough on your time. Tough on your travel. It impacts how you do in and around the Pro Tour and the European Tour. The Premier League has a lot of implications for players, positive and not negative, but positive and challenging, shall we say? And so it's important that the players we pick for it are in the right stage of their career where they can cope with that. You know, in the past, I think we've possibly put players into the Premier League a little bit too early, and they've struggled, and they've taken a step back in their career that's taken them a couple of years to recover from. And we don't want to be in that position again.
With what you said there, would that potentially then rule out Josh Rock for the Premier League?
It doesn't rule anybody out. It doesn't rule anybody out unless we feel they're not ready. It's not fair on me to comment on individuals, but whoever they are, whether they've been playing for 1 year or for 20 years, they have to be ready. And some players are ready a lot earlier than others, and others take a lot longer to develop. Yeah,
obviously on Josh, he's like the name on everyone's lips right now. He's not short of confidence at all. Have you been taken aback how far he's come in a short space of time, literally blitzing his way through the rankings in one year?
Maybe, but it's not completely unprecedented. You know, and for me, I see darts as if you're a dart player and you come through at Josh's age, you've got a long career in front of you. It's important to sustain that. We've also seen players come through at that kind of age before who've then not been seen or heard of again. So for me, it's not so much what you do in your first year, it's what you do in your second and third year, having had a first year like that. So, you know, I think Josh is a phenomenal talent. He's a great lad, so let's see how he develops.
Yeah, of course. And this year, it's got a bit spicy between the players. This is the first year that they probably haven't had a go at each other. Normally there's 1 or 2 little rivalries, but there's pockets developing all over the place, which is only a good thing for the sport.
Yeah, I mean, it's money, isn't it? You know, if they're all up there playing for a fiver, no one cares. You know, all of a sudden they're playing for hundreds of thousands of pounds, life-changing money. Why they're going to care? And, you know, maybe they're all a little bit worried because they know there's a bloke next to them or a woman next to them who can beat them.
Q School on the horizon as well, the golden ticket as it's been dubbed. Are you expecting bigger numbers this year than last year because as we return to normal, those restrictions aren't there and everything like that?
Yeah, I think so. You know, within a certain percentage, I don't expect the numbers to double or anything like that, but the interest levels will grow. The number of players who will fancy their chances of getting a tour card will grow. So that will be a steady climb and has been for, you know, COVID accepted the last decade or so. So I think it will continue in that way.
On Q School, I know that it's someone that you've had a good relationship when he's played. Corey Cadby, the news dropped in the week that he is going to come back and have a go. And interesting to see.
Interesting to see. I'm fascinated to see how he gets on. Corey's a phenomenal talent, and he can be a smashing lad. He can be an idiot, as I've told him on occasions, and he knows that, and he knows how not to be like that going forward, hopefully. But he's a great talent. If he can make it back onto the circuit, then that's great for darts.
Yeah, as well. It's interesting that he's going to pick the European route to do as well, where last time he did the UK one.
Yeah. I mean, you know, personal choice. Obviously, it's a tactical decision that's worked for some players, hasn't it? We saw Matt Campbell do it through the Challenge Tour, and that went well for him as well. So if it works, great. Q
School ever go back into one again, or is it set now with the 2 European and the UK?
No, I think it works well. Works well. You know, our aim is to make the sport a global sport. You know, I don't just want to have a European Q School. I want to have an American one, an Asian one, and you know, we need to be a global sport. So that's something that will take a long time. We're still a young organisation, but our plan in time is to expand our boundaries further.
On that and the expansion of it, can we? It's not assumed, but do you think that the winner of the CDC Order of Merit and the DPA Order of Merit and so on can potentially win a tour card outright? Then is that a development that you're looking at doing?
It's probably a bit early to start talking about that at the moment. You know, whilst we're restricted to 128 tour card holders, and you know, if it's important for us that those tour card holders participate regularly. You know, we've had players in the past from a long way away who've had tour cards and not really used them for obvious reasons. It's difficult financially and logistically. So I wouldn't just want to be throwing out tour cards that ended up not being used.
Last time we spoke to you, obviously some World Series dates have been announced, and you said there may be further. Is that any further down the line?
It's proven that it's time and things like that. But we've got 5 announced, and we're looking for one more. Yeah.
Any idea what area of the world?
Absolutely, I know exactly where I want it to be.
Any hints?
No.
Again, looking ahead to next season, things always evolve with the PDC, and you move quite quickly. Is there anything that you can drop for us that is exciting news on the way?
I don't think there's anything specific that we're going to be doing in 12 12 months' time we'll be saying was way different to what we did in 2022. Our aim is just to be bigger and better, so there will be new things that come up, and then there'll be existing things that evolve and grow, because that's the nature of what we're trying to deliver. We want to deliver more prize money, we want to deliver more competitions, we want to be able to get more fans in, we want to be on more TV channels, all the standard stuff, but there's nothing, we're not going to sort of reinvent the wheel in the next 12 months. We're just going to keep turning that wheel and going forward.
Also, as well, I know you've seen the interview that Michael gave to the media about last year and players lying about their COVID tests. Is that something that you're looking into, and were you aware of that until that interview dropped?
I think you need to be very careful throwing allegations around like that.
No, that's fine. It was obviously I didn't know about it. Until we saw it in the paper as well.
You asked me the question.
Yeah.
Anyone who throws an allegation about needs to be very careful doing that without foundation. So there's nothing for me to say about that.
No, that's obviously. Thanks very much for that. And as always, this World Championship, the prize money, is it going to go up again next year as we edge towards that $1 million mark? Do we think? I know it's something.
Maybe, but again, it's important that the prize money for the other events doesn't fall too far behind. So we're looking at what we deliver to the tour, what we deliver to other aspects of our schedule. You've seen the prize money for the secondary tours has been increased, to over £1 million next year in total. And it's important that the other TV tournaments are able to keep pace. So the World Championship prize money is fantastic at the level it is. We want to grow it, but we need to grow it proportionately with everything else.
Yeah, well, you touched on there the money for the secondary tours. That was a real big step forward as well for those tours with the Challenge Tour and the Women's Series in particular.
Yeah, agree. I mean, the prize money for the Challenge Tour and the Development Tour had stayed the same for a long time, so it was right that we were in a position to put it up.
On the Challenge Tour, one of the criticisms said it's like overpacked a little bit. Is there any ideas or any way to cap the number of entries for the Challenge Tour?
Well, we've never actually gone above 256 entries to a tournament. So we play 128 players at a Pro Tour on 16 boards, and we can play up to 256 on 32 boards at the Challenge and Development Tours. So if we start getting 300 plus entries, then we might have to look at it. But we've not reached that level yet.
Matt, thank you very much for all your time in 2022.
Anytime. Enjoy the world. Thanks a lot. Cheers.